Ragin Cajuns baseball pitches a shutout to pick up win number 2 on the season. Let's talk about it here on Ragin Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of Ragin Rundown, the show where you will know all things UL athletics. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can always call me Fitz. Before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, like this video, share it, and leave a comment down below. If you're listening on podcast, be sure to follow the podcast feed wherever you get great podcasts, just like this one. Rate us and leave a review as well, because it may seem small, but you doing that gets us in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. And in today's episode, we're recapping Louisiana's shutout victory over the Rice Owls that happened on Tuesday night. The Ragin Cajuns will pick up a 3-0 victory over Rice in an absolute masterclass of a performance from the Cajuns bullpen. Coming into this game, Louisiana lost their opening weekend series to Missouri State. They dropped the first 2 games. And then the final game of the series, they were able to win 9-7. Rice was coming into this game at 2-1. They had won their opening weekend series against Northwestern and dropped game 3. I believe the final score was 17-6. Nonetheless, both teams coming in with different trajectories of how they're feeling. One coming off of a win, the other off of a loss. One at 2-1, the other at 1-2. And we knew coming into this one that Sawyer Pruitt, the true freshman from Live Oak that stands at 6'7", 240 pounds, was going to get the start on the bump for Louisiana. And did he ever show a great performance by a true freshman? We saw what he was able to do over the weekend, and he carried it over even more into Tuesday. Now, he did have a pitch count on him, so he only pitched it 49 times, and then he was taken out. He went 4 innings, allowed just 2 hits, no earned runs, obviously with the shutout, and 4 punch-outs. And he faced 14 batters with 13 at-bats, 2 flyouts, or 1 flyout he had, and then 6 groundouts. Efficient, got it done, didn't waste any time, precise, and just made it difficult for Rice to get anything going offensively, as the Owls would have 30 at-bats and they would only have 5 hits on the night and would leave 7 runners on base. After him, you had Hayden Pearson, the Ascension Episcopal product, to come in for 1 1/3 inning. He allowed just 1 hit, 1 walk, and a strikeout. 15 pitches, he got him out of there. Calvin Alfonso goes in for a 3rd. He's a lefty, so they just wanted to see him for a handful of pitches. He got 7 pitches in. They take him out. He allows a walk, but they take him out right after. They saw what they needed to. Bryce Wilson, after getting beat up on a little bit during the weekend, comes in and goes for an inning. He allows just 1 hit, a walk, and 2 strikeouts on 20 pitches. Tyler Pappenbrock, very similar, got beat up on over the weekend. He goes 1 1/3 inning, allows a hit, gets a strikeout, does it on 23 pitches. And then Cody Brash finishes it off, going for an inning, getting 3 strikeouts, 16 pitches, wasting no time. So just a very impressive showing by your pitching staff to be able to get the job done. No errors on the board for you defensively. Rice had 2 fielding errors. And then offensively, obviously you would have wanted to score more runs, but you were able to make plays and get runs in enough to win the ball game. Obviously, Coach Deggs would like to see more out of his team offensively as well, as they are trying to come along a little bit more. We saw them kind of jumpstart things in game 2 against Missouri State and then get 9 runs and 2 home runs in their game 3 victory over the Bears. But sometimes you're going to have to be able to win in different ways. And this goes to show that. Drew Markle got a home run in this one. You had Colt Brown to kind of lead the way for you, going 2 of 3 with an RBI. And then also Griffin Hebert going 1 of 3 and then getting an RBI as well. So Louisiana handles business. They go on the road for the first time this season. They handle business and they pick up a victory. They improve to 2-2 and drop Rice to 2-2 on the season. And now the next step is to go back into the weekend series and play against Maryland over the weekend. They will have a 3-game series with them. It's a 6:00 on Friday, a 2:00 on Saturday, and I think a 1:00 there on Sunday. So a very impressive performance from this bullpen. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Sawyer Pruitt again. And I wouldn't be surprised that as we continue throughout this season, that his midweek performances don't eventually work him into your weekend rotation, because he's mentioned it in preseason. We talked about it in previous episodes that you can go and check out, of how talented this freshman class is. The Noah Lewis's, the Colt Browns, who's starting behind the dish, the Blaze Rodriguez's, and now you're seeing Sawyer Pruitt on the bump with how talented he is and the command that he has, how efficient that he is in his pitches. You were able to see, well, you weren't able to see it because this game was not televised, but you were able to hear it if you listened on the broadcast. So hopefully we will get a chance to physically see what this team is able to do in terms of Sawyer Pruitt there on the bump. So congratulations to the Ragin Cajuns getting that victory, a much needed one. Now back-to-back wins. Now the next step is to carry it over into the weekend series against Maryland. I'm going to take a quick time out, and when we come back, we'll talk about the softball team, the performance that they had against number 7 Florida State, which was their first road test of this young season, when we come back here on Ragin' Rundown. Louisiana softball had their first road test here of the 2026 season, coming off of a 23-0 victory over Texas A&M Corpus Christi from Sunday, and they hit the road to face the number 7 team in the country. And Bella Dimitrovic would be the starting pitcher for Florida State, and she would pitch a shutout. The team as a whole, but she would get a bulk of it, as I believe she went 4 innings in this one. 3 2/3, excuse me. And then Ashton Danley would come in and pitch for 1 1/3 inning to ultimately pitch the shutout. For the Ragin Cajuns, they would suffer a 8-0 loss in a run rule loss in this one. And the story of this game happened between the second and then obviously the 5th inning, where the run rule came into effect. Lexi Delbray got the start in the circle for Louisiana, and she lasted for 1 1/3 inning. She allowed 1 hit and 3 runs, but none of them were earned. But she walked 5 batters. And when you have that happening, and then she went up to 41 pitches, the need was felt that you need to make a change. You put in Sage Hoover. She's able to keep Florida State scoreless in innings 3 and 4, and then 3 runs come in there to close the game out. There wasn't a whole lot that Florida State did other than took advantage of the mistakes that Louisiana made. They also had 2 fielding errors, which one of them allowed the first runs to come in early in this one. But outside of that, this was a game that Louisiana shot themselves in the foot. Like I said, you go through the first inning scoreless. Florida State breaks it open there in the second. They loaded the bases with a hit batter and 2 walks. And then Louisiana committed the defensive error that allowed the first run to score. And then a bases loaded walk made it 2-0. An RBI fielder's choice extended the lead 3-0. And then Anna Hind delivered the big hit, a 2-run single. 5 runs were scored in the inning to pretty much create the gap. And then after that, that's when Louisiana got a chance to threaten a little bit offensively. Mia Lascano singled to start the inning. Haley Hart came in with a couple of hits as well. But then Florida State turned a double play. Stranded runners kept the score intact at 5-0. Like I said, Louisiana pitched shutouts in the innings 3 and 4, and then in the 5th, where the run rule happened, was where Ashton Danley singled, later scored on a wild pitch. Sacrifice fly made it 7-0, and the RBI single made it 8-0, giving you your fourth loss of the season, and has you probably feeling a little bit down as you're heading into the weekend. You go on the road. This is your first road test, and you didn't handle as well. Louisiana had 17 at bats and only were able to produce 4 hits, 2 coming from Haley Hart, 1 coming from Mia Norwood, and 1 coming from Mia Lascano. We've talked about that it's not going to be hitting that's the problem for this team, but when you're facing better talent, more talented pitchers, you're going to have to step up to the plate. Obviously, you may not see these caliber of pitchers in Sunbelt play, but ultimately in being where you want to be, which is Oklahoma City, Florida State is a team that's been there before. And the pitcher that you faced to start off with was a D1 softball freshman to watch and a Softball America freshman to watch as well. She's a true freshman, but she is an elite pitcher coming out of high school. She was a 2-time Illinois Gatorade Player of the Year, so you knew what you were up against coming into this one. So now that you've experienced this loss, it's now going to be about how can you respond to it and build off of it as you progress through the season. Pitching is still kind of a place that you're going to have to work through, but we've talked about this multiple times in many different sports. There is no waiver wire. Your pitching staff is what you have. Lexi Delbray, Sage Hoover, Bethany Noble, Bailey Mackles, and then Julianne Tipton. Those are the five pitchers that you have on your roster. So you're going to have to figure out a way to collectively work with those young ladies to find the best combination, to find the best rotation, to be able to put you in the best position to win. The hitting is going to continue to progress along the way and learn to compete against talented pitching staffs, but you've got to have that great pitching, that complementary pitching to give yourself a chance when you're playing against top-notch programs, especially like Florida State. So Louisiana suffers the loss, and now they will have an opportunity to bounce back as they will hit the road once again, and they will be in the Purple and Gold Challenge down in Baton Rouge, where they will face the likes of Howard, Michigan State, and then LSU to round it out on Saturday. So the first 2 games that they will play will be on Friday against Howard at 1:30. Again, similar to when you played Prairie View A&M, and this is no disrespect to Howard, but this is a program that you are expecting to beat. You more than likely will see Bailey Mackles get the start in this one because you're in a doubleheader. So you'll play against Michigan State at 4 o'clock. So you'll probably see Bailey Mackles. And then you may see either Sage Hoover or Julianne Tipton because UL will likely want to save Lexi Delbray. I'm not sure. If I had to guess, that may be the way things shake out in terms of who we see as starting pitchers. And you may see it as, hey, if we can go ahead and strike up the band early, get some hits going, we can run Rule Howard and not allow our pitchers to use their arms as much, keep that pitch count low, and maybe we can use an extra arm further down the line when we play LSU on Saturday. So you got 2 games, one against Howard at 1:30, and then Michigan State at 4. And then on Saturday, you play Howard again. You have them at 11 a.m., and then you have LSU at 4. So this will be the first of 2 matchups that you'll have with the Tigers. They will return the favor and eventually come to Lafayette later down the line in the season in April. April the 14th is when LSU will come to Lamson Park. So Louisiana falls in softball. Baseball is able to pick up a victory on the road. And so now we will continue to see how the teams progress as the season treks along. And you know, we'll be keeping up with it right here on Ragin' Rundown. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. Please do me a favor, like the video, share it with someone else, and leave a comment down below. If you're listening on the podcast side, please follow the podcast feed wherever you get great podcasts just like this one. Be sure to rate us and leave a review as well, because that will help us continue to grow and get in front of more Ragin' Cajun fans just like yourself. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.